Uh-oh. Whoa. It's busy in here already. Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, 3 p.m. here on the left coast of the United States. A couple hours later in the middle of the country, and much, much, much later going into tomorrow in the Czech Republic.
I'm in the future.
In the future. And very, very, like you're in a void today, Ben.
Yeah.
It's very dark.
Yeah. I ended up all my stuff normally lives in my van.
Yeah.
I'm now decided that today I was going to carpet line my van. So I've stripped every single thing out of it, all the panels, all the trim, all the seats, everything.
Wow.
And it is now all in the garage, blocking all my stuff, all my work stuff, which came out first. So I've had quite the afternoon or quite the evening now in the last hour running around trying to find light stands and lights and stuff. So we're on a slimmed down set today.
That's all right. That's okay. And then Caleb, you seem to be settling into your new set, which is nice.
Yep. And thanks for everyone who is hanging out over here. No, it's been really nice to have everything in one place. I don't know why I'm choppy, but
you know,
aside from the audio issue, I try to get my shotgun working and have some stuff to deal with there. But yes,
I don't think it's so bad. It sounded pretty good. Just a few shout outs before we get into Drinkland. Michael's here. DJ Succotash, thanks for watching my new demo reel on the site. Oh No Coffee, Ronnie, thanks for coming. Wouter, and we've got, who else do we have in here? Best Audio Visual Tricks, I like that. Sky is here, and Bill, and David, and Andrew. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, welcome.
Boom.
Drinks. What do we got? Who's going first? Ben? Let's do Ben first. Come
on. Okay. I'm on.
Oh, there we go. Talisker. Oh, smoky. Smoky.
Yeah, my favorite. Just the right amount of smoky. Not too much. Not Lefroy levels of heartburn smokiness, but
yes.
just the perfect amount.
And Caleb, we're going to you. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so today I am doing another Prairie Street.
Beautiful.
This is a
beautiful can
IPA.
Again.
Yeah,
these guys are knocking
bonkers.
it out. So a friend of mine who knows a thing or two about this company, it turns out they like are selling or sold like the branding to somewhere in India. So you can buy this stuff in India, or the brand is over there. It's like a brand. So they're like their graphics guy is like killing it to where they're selling the vibe, the look, or the brand or whatever.
Beautiful.
In India.
And I'm having sloppy sauce, the 1792 foolproof. I guess I might as well just call it that now, because if you have one of them, you get a little sloppy. But you know. That's what I'm going to do, and I'll try to behave myself. But no promises. You know, it's once a month now. So let me put a little water in it, though, because this stuff is like rocket fuel until you... there we go. Cheers, gentlemen.
Got
to another...
Cheers.
Wednesday. Yeah.
To everyone in the chat.
Here we go. And to everybody in the chat. Here we go. All right, Philip's here now. We can begin. Ridiculous.
We got two DJs in here.
That's
Strix
one of them
and
Succotash.
Succotash. I keep saying sucker trash. Sorry about that.
Succotash. You gotta think like Succotash. DJ Succotash from Toronto, Canada. Well, here we are. See, I just had one sip of this thing, and it's just making me loopy already. Gosh. Unbelievable. Yeah, you are losing some frames there, but it's not too bad, Caleb.
It's a little delayed.
No, when you were moving, it was a little bit delayed.
Oh, you know what? My Wi-Fi's on. Let me turn it off.
Let's
see if my computer's on Ethernet or not.
And if you have to jump out, you can come back. Not a problem. We can two up. Hey, Travis, good to see you. David is here. David's having a Jeffrey special whiskey and Coke. It's a beautiful thing. There's the two of us here. hanging out, Ben. While we wait for our good friend to show up, what was that? Did you get a little
That-
smoky?
No, I was trying. Seeing as it didn't go unnoticed, I'm just going to cough anyway. I thought I was going to pull that round
Oh boy.
without needing to cough.
This just in.
Yes.
My Wi-Fi was carrying it, so as if you
Yeah,
guys didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now we're drinking and we're talking 10-bit color and raw video and all kinds of stuff happening here. Do you want us to answer? Andrew, I think I saw an answer in the chat, but 10-bit color does not mean raw video. Raw video is basically sensor data, and that has all the stuff in it. And you can have compressed raw, you can have uncompressed raw, but 10-bit really just has to do with how many colors are being captured in your image. And there's a heck of a lot more colors being captured when you're in 10-bit than 8-bit. Know those bands and that nasty stuff that can happen? Well, 8-bit versus 10-bit can be a big part of that equation. That's a short answer. Anybody else want to add to that? I'm just kind of glossing over here, but that's the way.
That's got it covered.
And then you just need like a half decent data rate, and your color sampling has to be pretty decent. All right, so like 10-bit 422, that's pretty good. It's better than 10-bit 420. That's as far as I'm willing to go at this moment. By the way, let's just do a little update for everybody. Like, I've been working on some projects out in the world. I worked on a documentary a couple of weeks ago. I was in Portland for a few days. That place is going downhill. We won't talk about that. Oregon coast. So it's good to be out working with other crew people and doing production, and my equipment's working. I got some rental days out of that, which was really nice. And I cut together a little updated reel. Actually, I don't ever cut together reels, but I put one up on the C47 YouTube channel. So it's about 2 minutes long. So if people are semi-interested in what I've been up to, you can see some stuff there. And I've got my first workshop in 3 years in New York, a week from this coming Sunday. So I'm heading out to New York City. It is, yeah, in person.
Exciting, yeah.
I mean, I have no idea how many people are going to be there. I don't do the promotion. I don't sell it. And NAB's website is so convoluted that it's virtually impossible to register. But just stick with it if you're interested. And if you watch the video I did a few days ago, you get 20% off. Yes, Ben, I'm ready.
So is this everything reverting back to normal now? Kind of October, New York, back to, and obviously April.
I guess we'll see. I mean, I haven't been to New York in 3 years, and I don't know what it's going to feel like in the city. I've heard it's a different city in some ways than 3 years ago.
It's just a shadow.
It's just a shadow of its former self. It's practically Gotham. So I don't know.
No, that's Chicago.
You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends which movie. You know, Gotham is sometimes Chicago and sometimes New York. It's really a mashup. It's a beautiful thing. So I don't know about the lamb sauce. So Caleb, what have you been up to? Like, what's been going on with the work situation, and what you've been creating? Because you've been killing it with some of these new videos. R7, the $3,000, like kit, all that stuff. But what's happening?
Just I don't have any. I don't think I owe anyone a video, so it's just kind of. I feel like I do this about once a year, where I'm like, that's it. Actually, I do have one thing that I couldn't help myself, because it's yeah, but liar. So yeah, just doing trying to get back to just having a good time, not hating YouTube, not worrying about thumbnails, and just trying to help folks get back to lighting too. I haven't done lighting videos in a long time, so the last one is kind of fun to like talk about lighting again for the first time in too long.
Yeah, long time.
So, and then you mentioned your workshop. We talked offline, kind of toying the idea of doing something offline. So offline training would be kind of fun.
Yes.
Don't know what that's going to be, if that'll even be anything, but something I'd like to play around with. The idea.
Love it. I miss teaching.
How about you, Ben?
Yeah. What's going on, Ben? In your land?
I've had, since the last time we met on here, which is a month ago, did a really intensive 3 weeks in the UK filming offshore wind farms and activity stuff in North Devon, which was beautiful, amazing part of the world that I've not been to before, beautiful coastline. And I've been back here for a month in edit hell. So as it always is, do 2-3 weeks over there, and then I end up doing similar amount of time, slightly longer here. So I'm just in a bit like you, Caleb. I'm kind of at that point where the decks are cleared. I'm waiting there's a couple of clients that I'm waiting on for amends, but I have a little window that started at lunchtime today until the weekend. So hence stripping out my van, and I've got all this carpet and glue that's been sitting in my garage since May, because it's one of those jobs that it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I've been putting it off, but I started and it feels good. It feels nice to not be on the computer, and the weather's beautiful here. It's been awful all September, and it's now 20 degrees. I don't know what that is in your temperature thing.
Comfortable, very nice.
Figure it out. Yeah,
Enjoyable.
70.
It's in the 70s, I believe.
That's
70s.
nice.
That's like the perfect. Anything from like 69 to like 81 or 82, and there's a little breeze that comes through every once in a while, especially when that temperature creeps up closer to the 80s. I'm good with that.
Yeah. And for this time of year, it's perfect. There's just something really nice about that kind of autumnal. There's a little bit of chill in the air, but it's nice in the day. The trees are just starting to turn. Yeah, it's good. You forget when you've been in that edit month of just how important fresh air is. You go out and you do exercise because you gotta keep doing that. And I'm quite good at making sure you do it, but just that actually having time and being outside all day, I really miss when I'm in edit stints. It really affects my general mental well-being enormously. I end up getting so ratty after a week of editing, a full week of editing.
It destroys my soul.
The grease production. Yeah.
Do you know what I hate about editing more than anything else? I hate that I can't listen to music. Yeah, not listening to music. That's the thing that it kills me, because like if I'm not all the time, sometimes I want it quiet, but when I'm doing stuff and I'm not editing, music's going. That is my lifeline.
Yeah. So there's when you're editing, when you're doing a creative edit, and you've got to be in it entirely. So there's 2 projects that I've got on at the moment that are like that you're needing to pull together a story. This big estate that I've been doing films for the last year with Jago, which are these amazing people who have had this estate for 1,000 years, and everything that they serve in their restaurant all comes from their land. It's an amazing thing. They're amazing people. So those are really interesting stories, and you need to be fully engaged in it. But I'm also doing a load of education stuff for university that once you've kind of cut the things together, there's just a million different versions. So I can quite happily stick something on Netflix and watch that while I'm doing it. Yeah. It has to be something I've seen before. It's something you can't be concentrating on the film on, but it stops me hating the fact that I'm having to do that work.
Yeah,
exactly. It just distracts me just enough to feel like I'm cheating, if that makes sense. And I get way more done like that. It's a really odd.
That's interesting.
About it doesn't sound like that should be a way to focus, but it helps. Or podcast is the other one. It's just distracting you.
Yeah, I can't. At the most, when I'm assistant editing and I'm like I'm trimming clip, like I'm just finding and trimming clips that I might use. That's fine. But beyond that, and then I need to get a track in there if it's being driven by a music bed. But then at a certain point, I'm listening to that goddamn thing for for 3 days, and I just want to.
But do you find that if you're struggling with just starting to put the thing, you've got your selects, you've maybe done your interview selects, you've maybe got your B-roll kind of A-list, and then you're just starting those initial building blocks, and I find I still maybe haven't found the right music for it, but just putting some music underneath it at a fairly mid-level bed just gets me going, and it gets me interested in it again, because you've had all those days
Oh,
just
yeah,
going
yeah.
through and doing your select. So you're already bored with the thing to an extent. Even if it's an interesting subject,
Yep.
you're slightly done with
Oh,
it.
I cut to music.
And it gets you back
yeah,
in, and
yeah.
you then feel it again. So even if it's not the right music, if it's not the thing, it at least gets you on, and you can do your assembly.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a
100%.
not a hard sell for Final Cut, but they have an audition feature, which is fantastic. Because what I'll do is I'll take like 6 to 8 music tracks, and I'll stack them together, and you can very quickly just switch between them. And then I'll audition underneath to kind of get a sense as I start to put the first 10, 15 clips in the timeline, what's starting to feel right. And then I'll whittle that down to like 3 or 4. And then I'll get down to like 2 tracks. And then as I start to get into the edit, I'll flip between the 2, and then like one will click at a certain point. And I'll be like, okay, that's what I'm going to use for that particular thing. Like the other track for my demo reel is 180 degrees different than the track that I'm using right now. They both kind of worked, but this one felt like the right one for this for some reason.
But then you go through that whole process of really choosing something that's got the right mood. It's setting off the right emotion. You're feeling it when you watch it, and then you give it to the client. They go, "Yeah, have you got something that's like we kind of like that, like an '80s vibe, with kind of like a hip hop thing on it?"
Yeah.
And then like we really like this, and
And then you cut it. You cut it to that music. Yeah, and you're cutting it to beats, and you're cutting it to emotion and feeling, and like the track's building, and then there's a drop or something, and then they're like, oh, well, we want something else. Wait, does that happen to you, Caleb? Because you don't have a client telling you that.
I was just thinking, like,
you?
I'm pretty sure I would just walk away and throw my computer in the trash. Like,
not at the client?
I have to suffer through like just basic editing pains, not then turning around and having someone. Now, granted, you guys can charge for it when they want to make changes.
Sometimes, not always.
Well, sure, but like, you know, it's not like you're just hopefully, you know, pissing away hours and hours of work for nothing, right? But no, I was just literally thinking, like, I have burnout issues, like, but I can imagine then like burning out on something just to have someone turn around and be like, yeah, no, we were thinking more. You know, you're doing all this drone footage of this epic stuff, and they're like, we were thinking more like, you know, ukulele music or something light. So you know, it's like, no, Iceland shots in a winter storm with ukulele music.
It happens a fair amount, but then I've started to give clients the art list website and just like I'm saying, I'm not saying that we're going to use this, but could you just pick not one track, but can you just like a few things that you like, and then you've at least got some kind of steer. Because you don't want to say, you don't want to give them. Wow. It is dangerous, but you don't want to say choose a track brilliant. Because that really is dangerous.
Yeah. But you don't think you just want to give them like a half a dozen that you picked and curated? That's why I'm saying it's dangerous. You're like opening up the box.
I don't know. And do you not find this a generation?
Cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Save yourself a ton of time.
It's so subjective, and you end up that you might know that that's the right thing. But then again, you kind of, and you're finding a lot of the time now that you're dealing with marketing managers or social media managers who are like 22, 23. They're 20 years younger than me. They have entirely different tastes in music and stuff. So if you can at least get a steer, and then you can find something in that genre, and you can then you start looking at everything that track or those things they like are tagged with, and then you can find similars. And you can go, all right, well, maybe this works a little better. The pacing's a little better. Or you can at least talk them out of it if it's something truly awful. But it cuts out a little bit of that crushing disappointment when you've got the feels for the thing and it's all great. And they go, I love it, but I just the music's the whole fucking thing. Yeah.
Or they then on top of that are like, can you make that blue? Like, can we have a warmer blue in the background? Blue. You know, those kind of things.
Can you make it sunny?
Yeah. Oh gosh, why do I have an alarm going off?
Do I have a thing, by the way, where the logo is where it says like guest something?
What?
I
Something
see
weird,
guest
like,
chat. What do you mean?
No, like on the actual R4 up for the stream. You see where the camera and flash logo is? Do you see anything below
Yeah.
it? That's
No.
weird.
I see me.
No,
Oh, wait.
like it says camera and
Yeah,
flash.
that's what I see below
and
it
then,
as well. I see.
and then it says distilled ideas. And then is there something
Uh-huh.
before that says like guest?
No.
I think it's just something in the UI then.
Just you.
Okay.
Just you. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm glad it's not being pushed out to the world. Go ahead.
We should bookmark this 100%. I'm not saying we should stop talking about this. I love it. But it would make a great episode to talk about the best and worst things about video production, like as a job.
Absolutely.
For stuff like this, like not being able to listen to music, clients.
Yeah, we've spent way too much time on that.
There's all kinds of fun stuff we could talk about, the best and worst. And then while we're at it, since we're 21 minutes in, we might as well bust out talking about time code and carts just to
dongle down. Let's
bring it
dongle
around.
down. All the way. We dongle down this and
twice today.
You did what twice?
Why? When you were in the
cart.
van? When you're making the love van?
Once with the love van, when I was taking the foldy out seat, which turns into the love bed, that is really, really heavy, and I can just about get it out on my own. But I use my little cart straight out of the van into the garage. Fantastic. And also this Camera People's group that I'm on, which is a Northwest England group, they had this whole, I don't know how many posts they had discussing carts. Bests, worsts, light, cheap, expensive. So I don't think we've done a full episode on carts, and I still think there's material there.
Dadgummit, we really should just do a cart. Let's do a cart episode.
Maybe we should.
We should actually. That'd be not a challenge, but just have everyone send us your cart, because I feel like everyone's got a modded cart setup, right?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to just have everyone send in their, like, if they have any like special cart stuff or how they do it, just a one photo of their cart build, and a really short. It'd be fascinating to see.
I'd like that. I'd be down. Remember
that
one you showed
on packing gear? You know,
that AC that you showed that clip for about a year ago. She was like insanely organized. That was a beautiful thing. Yeah. Lava cart. Is that what somebody said? I saw lava cart. Louder.
TM trademarked. Get away from it.
Lava cart. So, by the way,
no lava cart today.
Brandon, just to answer your question, I don't totally understand the question. I didn't cut every project that's in the reel, but I cut the reel. So I hope that answers the question. But that's the end of that.
There you go.
By the way, last piece of housekeeping. Next month, first Monday of November, it's our challenge. We're doing the Inspired Frame Challenge again. It sounds like David's already finished, which is amazing, but annoyed his girlfriend in the process. All the information's on this channel. So just look, it's been up for a month plus, and it's not unlike last time. I think I've picked my movie, but I haven't picked my frame that I'm going to use for the inspiration. But I could change my mind.
Can I give them the elevator pitch for those who might be new?
100%. Please do.
So here's the deal. Pick a movie and a shot that you love in a movie. As an example, last time we did this, which is on this channel, check out the last stream. We did, I did, the girls at the end of the hall. Here's Johnny.
The Shining.
What's the movie?
The Shining. The Shining. The Shining. The Shining.
Wow,
The Shining.
Caleb.
The Shining. Yeah.
The Shining. The shot where he's got the trike and the two girls at the end of the hall. I took that shot and I took a photo that was inspired by it. It doesn't have to be a copy. It can be just simply inspired by. Take the shot, come up with something, and submit it in a PDF that is 16 by 9, not a PDF that's like photo or letter, but 16 by 9.
Landscape.
Send it to whatever address Jem's about to give us.
Challenge at the C47.com. Challenge at the C47.com.
There you go.
Yep.
Then we're all going to look at and make sure, this is really important. don't tell us what the movie was or what the actual frame is. Just the first thing is text about it maybe, and give us a shot, the actual shot, so we can try to guess what movie it came from, because that's half the fun is guessing. You know, I feel like you guys are really sharp, so it's pretty impressive how everyone guessed everything last show.
Yes.
So it'll be fun to see if we get a little more fringe with our media there. But yeah, that's the idea. Pick a movie, pick a shot, recreate or shoot something that's inspired by that, and then we'll see if we can guess it. And then, of course, you can reveal in that PDF what the actual movie was.
And episodic is fair game too. So you can do like,
Totally.
you know, like it can be Breaking Bad, which somebody did last time. I did Man in the High Castle. So it could be Game of Thrones. You know, you can pick something that's that. It's basically use something that's narrative as your inspiration.
Right.
And let it inspire your frame. And as Caleb said, the first frame you should show is your frame, what you created. Then you can do BTS and what you did. And then the reveal at the end is the inspiration for what you created. And it's just a still. You don't have to go shoot a scene or anything like that. And beautiful. Chris is already preemptively guessing Downton Abbey. You won. That's it. There's nothing to win, but you know, it's a beautiful thing. Good resources out there like Shot Deck as well to grab your inspiration frames. So, anything else to add? Yeah.
Oh, no.
No.
I was just gonna say I almost canceled my subscription because I'm on a unsubscribing like hardcore rampage.
Yes.
But that one made the cut.
Really?
Netflix.
Yeah, I'm
Netflix,
in the same.
Amazon, and Shot Deck. It's like $4 a month once you do the math, but it's the 2 times a year I use it outside of this show. Yeah, it's invaluable.
It's true.
Be like, I need some inspiration for like a certain type of shot. You just start entering all kinds of random metadata. I want indoor, 30 or like wide lens, you know, this color or whatever.
It is an amazing thing.
And it's, really, I mean, like tool. When you just want to create a quick lookbook to have a conversation with either your team of people you're creating something with or a client, it's just a fantastic resource. What is
Although
that?
It's somewhat dangerous. It's somewhat dangerous showing a client stuff from there, and you go, don't expect like this.
Yeah, not
like
that.
Something kind of a bit shitter.
No, we kind of like a little bit.
Yeah, that's where you have to Google the budget for the movie and show that to them too.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're going to give you an 8-bit.
$100 million. $100
We'll give you the 8-bit version of this.
You're not paying me $100 million. Yeah,
it can be.
One other thing, and I know that we're supposed to be talking about mirrorless cameras, but cameras are tedious to talk about. This is kind of more fun. You were talking about Netflix making the cut of your things that you were culling, because I don't know, because obviously each territory has a different set of films on it. I am struggling to find anything to watch on that thing at the moment.
Well, I think when we're done with Shameless, I think we're done. I think Shameless is the thing that we've got season 11 to finish, and then I think when Shameless is gone, it might be done for a while.
UK or US version of Shameless?
US. But I like the UK version. Oh God, give me a break.
I don't know anything about any of that, but my thing is, recently, Cassie and I have not been watching a lot of TV. Right. And when we do, we get really bingey because we don't watch it much. So I'm thinking about canceling everything but like one at a time.
Yes.
And then wait for it, because I don't, I love you all, but I don't hang out on social media anymore. I just don't. So I'm not going to see spoilers really. So why not wait until the whole thing is out? You know, do Netflix for a month or two.
Yep.
Catch up on the one or two good things there. Unsubscribe. Move on.
I've been doing it a lot.
And it sounds petty. Yeah. It sounds petty, but that poop adds up these days, man.
It really does.
I'm sorry. We're so out into the weeds. It's nuts. I have to say this though. We're so out in the weeds, but everybody do this. You'll be horrified, but also grateful you did it because you'll save some money. The terrifying thing to do, but everyone should do it. Sit down with your household or just yourself, write down collect every single little thing that's every year, every 2 years, or every month. Put it all in a spreadsheet to calculate every month what's going out.
Yep.
I'm talking your rabies shot for your dog, everything. You'll be horrified how much of your money is going away to other stuff. And then you can see how, like, I would say at least a quarter, if not all the way up to a half of it, you can just eliminate, but you just don't even know it's there.
It's not that important.
Because it's every 2 years, or it's this, or it's that.
It's so easy to get into that. It's just £5, £5 a month, £6, £7.
Yeah.
And it goes on. And I did exactly what you did. I didn't get down to the point of doing the spreadsheet, but it just going through everything, going through the bank balance and going, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And it makes a huge difference. I went through this whole thing 3 years ago, I guess, of just trying to cut my monthly expenditure down to absolute bare minimums, because this whole thing of being self-employed and being a one-man band, that when you go through those quiet spells, if you've got, and like through COVID, it was amazing because I'd done all this before, you don't need that much. You know, you've got your basic stuff, your mortgage, your gas, your electricity, whatever it is, you know, your real essentials that you've got to pay. But if you cut everything else out and do it ad hoc, so much better. Like, I don't finance gear anymore. Everything's bought cash. And and that whole buying gear thing, which I know we've had this conversation a million times, but I've recently, the last 2 years, I've properly got out of, you know, I was saying, I don't talk about cameras, it's boring. Because I'm just not, unless it really, I need something, it's going to change the way that I work, it's going to make things easier, or it's going to make me more money, I'm not interested anymore. I'd rather have the money. Well, not in the bank, but you know what I mean. Segue time. Oh, are we going there now?
No, you talked about
this conversation.
No, I'm saying I'm not segueing you into it because I'm saying you're starting to talk about like whether or not we're continuing to buy equipment, and should I buy equipment, and is it worth it? And I think I love equipment, and I still get crap, but most of it I just send back, you know, because I'll do it through my affiliate program with B&H. Gives me some exposure to the equipment. I can do something with it or not, but I learned about it and it goes back to that place. But the older I get, I'm like this workshop, I think I'm going to have half as much equipment at this workshop, even though it's going to be a fair amount of equipment, than I did last time. Because I'm like, I don't actually need to show people 12 different lights that all do exactly the same thing. I just need like 3 lights, and let's just figure out how to make something look a certain way. And, you know, it's not a dog and pony show. So I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older.
Jeb, the probably one of the most interesting presentations, aside from your own, of course, that I've attended many of over the years.
Sorry.
Deakin's at Camera Image a few years ago.
Wow.
All he used was 3 redheads, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
why wouldn't he?
That's right.
And his immense talent.
But it's just this whole thing about us all being so obsessed with gear and having the latest, greatest thing.
Yeah.
And it's now a case of, what can I travel light with? And it's that whole thing of, will clients notice? And it was that thing when I was in my early 20s, when I was starting out, and you want the biggest camera that kind of is going to compensate for my clear lack of experience, that a client might see that rather than me. But now you don't. Now I look kind of old and grey and thinning hair and everything. They go, he's been around, you know. You
You're
must
so
know
handsome,
something.
Ben. Give me a break. Stupid talk over here. Come on. I like that.
It's so going. Anyway,
Listen.
the point being that this whole thing of needing to feel like, you know, you've got the bigger thing, and all right, now we can segue into mirrorless. Here we go.
No, yeah.
The amount that you can do with that now without having to take loads of stuff, and going back to, so kind of come full circle of going from rigging stuff out, not wanting to rig stuff out, having a camera that's got everything built back in, to going back to the mirrorless is so good now, can do so much without
Yeah.
having to do too much, and those ancillaries that go with them are now also smaller. And for a lot of what I'm doing, you don't need very much of it. So,
Yep.
yeah, the C200's on its way. I've been saying this for a year, but it is.
Well, it's soft. You know,
It is.
there's that too.
Not unless you're thinking of buying one, in which case it's a great
It's
camera.
amazing.
Fantastic images.
Shoot, Cinema Raw. Here, Light.
Can you believe,
what?
to interrupt again
Yes,
before we move
no,
on to this?
interrupt.
Someone, no joke, someone sent me an email saying, "Hey, when are you going to review that JVC LS 3000 or whatever?
Yeah,
that one
300.
weird JVC 4K
Yeah,
camera."
Yeah.
He's like, "When are you going to review it? I've held on to mine because you mentioned twice that you were going to do a video on it, and I've been waiting for you to do a video so that I can like try to like
It came
wait
up
for
in
the
the chat
pricing
today
to
too.
go off or whatever." Oh, no way.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, it's the
somebody
same
made a
person,
comment. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
camera because it has a weird
It
mount
is.
for what it
Super-
is.
Yep. I think you still buy it new.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
Okay,
really
so
wild.
well, it looks
Anyway.
like JVC's pushing boundaries here, and they're just going all the way for it. I mean, meanwhile, you can get an FX30 for like $1,800 US, and it's like,
Yeah.
what more would you need? Michael says it was
Turner.
me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, dude. Yep.
Yeah, that
Oh,
300 is an
amazing.
interesting little camera, but all right.
All right. Let's
I
do
have
this.
not
Let's-
heard.
let's-
Okay, let's talk. Okay, but first of all,
36
Colin,
minutes in.
yeah, and we've said mirrorless cameras a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's every month. So, all right. So
It's
the
fun. It's
chat,
good.
look in the chat. By the way, and at the C47 means we're paying a lot of attention to what you're asking or what you're commenting on, and we love that you have these background conversations going on as well. We like to keep it lively here. We're going to talk about these little mirrorless cameras. I mean, look, the reality is that, what is it, 2-3 years ago, there were definitely conversations going on, especially when things are transitioning from DSLRs to mirrorless cameras. And by the way, every digital cinema camera, including an Alexa LF large format camera, is a mirrorless camera. It doesn't have a mirror in it. But when we talk about mirrorless cameras, we're talking about those small form factor camera systems. So we're talking R7s, R5s, R6s. We're talking about the A7 series from Sony. We're talking about the FX3, the FX30. We're talking about the XT4, the X, H2S. These are all mirrorless cameras. So the question isn't whether or not mirrorless cameras are here to stay. They absolutely are. The question is who's using them, who's using larger digital cinema cameras, who's using them together, and where do they sit, especially with this new crop of APS-C / Super 35 millimeter sensor cameras, because it's an interesting space. It's a much lower price point, but we've got secret ingredients that have now started to come into these cameras that, in my opinion, are starting to make them look like great, not only entry level cameras, but incredibly versatile in terms of how you lens them, because you have lots and lots of choices in terms of that.
Yeah,
So
opens it way up,
feelings?
doesn't it?
Yeah. So thoughts, gentlemen, and for the chat on these, and we could keep it to what would we say are sort of our crop of like the greatest right now? Definitely FX30 that was just announced. I would say the XH2S from
That's an amazing
Fuji,
little thing.
the R7 that you just did a video on, Caleb. Is there anything else in that sensor size that you think sort of are contenders?
I mean, for like, this is kind of the new budget, under $2,500. So I would say those are the three right now. Yeah.
Those are the three.
I mean, there might be something from Nikon, but I don't think so.
And we're not really looking at Blackmagic, though we can't ignore them, but it's just a whole different kind of thing.
These are like, I would call these like all-in-one mirrorless.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is like, you can just put a battery in it and a lens on it and go out and film. Which that's not the case with all cameras in that price range.
Right.
No. The Sony's really interesting to me because it fits into that whole ecosystem. So people who are and again, we've had this conversation before, but Europe, if you or UK particularly, FX9, FS7s, all that, that's the camera that you want if you're working on new stuff, TV stuff. That's the camera that you want to have. Now that just fits into that workflow beautifully. All the lenses that you've got are all going to work on it. That's it fits in those two worlds, doesn't it? Because you were talking about entry level, that it certainly fits in that in terms of its price point if you want to get going, but to fitting into that pro environment, that pro sort of set of gear that Sony have had for the last 8-9 years, the FSFX series. That's a properly, and it's just a beautiful. In fact, I go as far as to say it's adorable.
Which one? The FX30?
The Sony, yeah. The FX30. Yeah. That thing just looks beautiful.
Yeah, and it's in the same housing as the FX3. It's got a smaller sensor.
Baby sensor in there.
Little baby sensor. And, well under 200, I wish. Well under $2,000 US.
And Caleb's been saying for ages that he wants exactly that camera.
Yep.
And it's
does it
fulfill everything that
Sorry.
Does it fulfill what you were
Well, I mean,
yearning
on paper.
for?
On paper. That's why I pre-ordered 2, and I'm going to sell like a ton of stuff and just move to those. I'm getting rid of my A7S.
Sensor, Caleb, the sensor in that camera, is it shared with anything that you're aware of?
No.
Or is it a new sensor?
They say it's a new sensor, but I don't know.
Okay.
They didn't say like what exact sensor spec or like model is in there.
Okay.
Yeah, like the A7S, the only reason I have it is 4K 120. But this does that. Granted, it's a crop. But I feel like when you're shooting 120, the way I shoot it, it's pretty controlled.
It's a crop on the
XH2. It's very rare.
Yeah.
It's a crop on the XH2S as well. It's a 1.38 weird crop. But it's a 1.38 on the Fuji cameras. But what's nice on those cameras is you can go into the menu and you can do what's called a movie crop mode. So you can fix that movie crop. So if you're switching between high speed and regular speed, it'll keep that same field of view. Not that you always want to do that, but it's an option. So, if you are flipping back and forth between the two, you're not getting wider fields of view and then cropped field of view. How much is the R7?
$1,500.
So it's just slightly less than the FX30.
Right.
When we're talking about that
category, the lay of the land.
Yeah.
Yeah, lay of the land is R7 $1,500.
Yeah.
FX30 $1,800 without the XLR handle.
Yep.
And this brings me to a question I have for you, Jim, which is the Fujifilm XH2S is $2,500.
A lot more expensive.
And with that, I'm gonna say this crazy thing. I don't think. Oh boy, I'm not sure I'm ready for this, but I'm gonna say I don't think there's any reason to buy an XH2S over the FX30 for the money if you shoot video.
If you shoot video. Yeah, unless you want that higher resolution.
$700 more.
Right. Do you need open gate 3.2 6.2K?
Sure. Right.
That's one, maybe. The hybrid camera thing is definitely another, though you're getting that with the R7.
Yes.
It is definitely a hybrid camera system. Yeah.
Right.
And
again, for like a video-centric person.
For a video-centric person,
no.
I mean, unless you want that higher resolution and you want ProRes built into your camera system for some reason, then that may be a hard sell. Absolutely. I mean, if the Fuji was closer to $2,000 US, it would be a much harder decision.
Different question, yeah.
But that's an $800 jump from the FX30 to the XH2S. So I could see a couple of things. I mean, part of it's going to be look, though Sony is, I mean, I've been working on this reel, like the FS7, FS7 II, and we just shot with the FX9. And, Sony's Cine EI sort of, S-Gamut 3.cine formula and getting that to look like a good image is not hard anymore. I mean, the footage, the
No.
sensors are sharp. I like Sony's look now. So I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I love Fuji's film simulation looks as well. And I love what I can get out of the cameras. The AF is 100% better on a Sony camera. No question about it. And probably almost definitely better on a Canon camera. So I don't think AF it's not part of the argument for a Fuji camera.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's a hard one. Yeah.
I know quite a lot of photographers who have gone over to Fuji, who I would say photographers of my generation who started on film. They kind of like the film simulations, and that's been a big thing for them. But now everyone who does stills at some point is being asked for video, even if it's not full production stuff, that little bits. And I think that camera for that market is a fantastic tool. And that's the thing that Sony can't compete with at all.
Yeah, but the R7 can. And that's where it's interesting.
It's a weaker video camera. It's a weaker video camera.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
it's the best Canon video camera that's come out.
Yeah.
Under $2,000.
In a mirrorless, 100%. I mean, look, I love the look of the Fuji, and I think, that extra resolution is great, but I think if you're looking at a video-centric camera right now, E-mount is incredibly versatile, first of all. Incredibly versatile. Insane. And, it's a hard sell if you're going just video. I mean, that FX30 looks amazing on paper, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone asked in the chat, Andrew, Automotive, what are the FX30 strengths that make it such appealing? So it's the price with everything you're getting for the price. You're getting a cinema camera. It's the FX line. So it has it's built for video. It has all these mounting points on it. It has, the controls are amazing. It has built-in LUTs. The way it displays all the information on the screen, there's not like a bunch of like little sun icons letting you know your white balance is set to daytime, or all these little silly photo-y things that we don't need. Dual base ISO, all the 14 air quotes plus stops of dynamic range. 10-bit 4:2. The video codecs on Sony cameras are amazing now. It's a 6K readout, oversampled, so you're getting really high detail.
You can't shoot 6K, but it's oversampled 4K from that.
But how many people? I mean, I get the coolness of like shooting open
I
gate,
agree.
But no one's gonna do that.
Right.
4K 120 with a crop, 240 HD.
Yeah.
HDMI out is ProRes RAW if you're into that. But it's all the little things like LUTs and the amazing autofocus. And it's the strongest, in my opinion, right now, the strongest mount for lenses outside of EF.
Oh,
I would say.
No doubt.
Yeah.
100%.
It's ridiculous.
100%.
Well, the flange distance is tiny on that system, so you can adapt anything onto that.
Yep.
But then you've also got just there's so many, and we're not just talking about old stuff. There's so many modern lenses that are available in that mount. It's a good. If I was starting fresh now, I think Sony would be the smart way to go. Really.
Yeah, I mean, if I were completely video centric, I have been shooting a lot of stills and video with the Fuji camera, which would make me lean more Canon or Fuji in that situation. But if I were buying a camera system strictly for video production and I wanted to go small format, 2 of those FX30s in a backpack, with some lenses, it's so much damage. Plus, remember that Sony has that feature where you can put a prime lens on your camera and you can essentially zoom it as if it were a zoom lens. So you can take a 25, and because of the way the camera's designed, it's bonkers. I mean, there's some really great stuff in there. So I mean,
So
they,
360's asked a question that I'd like to know as well. Has time code too?
Yes.
well, in what
Right.
way? Yes. I think there's no. Is there an
Yeah, the
adapter
question
cable,
is
or are
how.
you
the
jam
ports on
syncing?
it?
No, I don't
Let's
think
see.
so. I think you have to. I think you have to audio
I think there's like an
jam it,
adapter or
don't you?
something.
Is there a cable that you can get?
Okay, so
Well,
there's
I think we
make
should-
use of the FX3's ability to sync external time code with this adapter. It's 8 inches long, multi-terminal connection, gives you a BNC connector for time code. So yes,
Oh,
with an
great.
adapter.
Okay, well that's fantastic.
It's $170, but it's an
Yeah,
adapter.
but you get 2 of those,
It's
and you have
possible.
somebody come in and they want to just they have a time code box. They can just push that in.
If you're doing stuff that warrants a BNC timecode connection, $170 is fine.
Yeah, but I mean the reality
would
is
say.
now with Tentacle and Deity, you can jam into these mirrorless cameras over audio. And I mean, we just did this doc shoot, and the sound recordist just she had the Tentacle system, and she just pushed it into we had an FX9, so she did that through BNC, and then we had an A7 III, and she did that over the audio port. So it's all doable now. Ono says, question, what are your thoughts on using EF glass on the FX30 with adapter? I mean, look, when E-mount first came out, there was jack shit for lenses for the mount, right? It's just ridiculous how many E-mount lenses there are right now. So unless you're trying to like eke life out of an EF lens on an E-mount system, there's just smaller, in many ways better options for that mount. But it is very versatile because of the the flange distance. I don't know what you gentlemen think about it, but there's just so many E-mount lenses out there right now, including the Fuji XF series ones. You can get those, those prime zooms, the T2.9s that are just monsters, and you get that,
They're amazing lenses.
18 to 55 and the 50 to 135, and you're basically it's a done deal. It's
What's it cost for the pair of those? They're not expensive.
No, they're pretty reasonable. I mean, they're not cheap, but it was like
talking for
$5,000
Fuji?
for both. Yeah, the Fuji MK series, but in E-mount. The 18 to 35, and then the 18 to 55, and then I was thinking Sigma there. 18 to 55 and the 50 to 135. How much are those? I know in E-mount.
There's so many great options. First of all, the 16 1.4 is $374.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
And the 30 1.4 is like 260 something.
Right.
And then the Sigma 18 is like, there's like so many lenses under $500 that are great, or under 700 that are like baller.
And at this point, if you're going to go over, I think you're better off selling up if you've got EF stuff and just moving over properly.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Unless you're on an R7, and then there are those advantages to keeping your EF mount glass, because you can get that adapter with the ND behind the lens, and that has advantages. But I don't know for E-mount.
No, if you're happy, if you're staying on Canon, and you can, there's the way those new mirrorless cameras work with the F glass is very interesting, particularly with the mount with the ND filter on. But I think if you're going to go down the Sony route, you just sell up.
Yeah.
Sell up.
And on Fuji side, it's very similar. There's a lot of primes that are under, about $500 that you can get that are great, but they are native X mount. So, you're kind of making a commitment when you go into the Fuji ecosystem. I love the image. I like the usability of the camera system. The menus could get even better, in my opinion. I mean, Sony's come a long way when it comes to their menus, and Canon's starting to put their cinema menus into their lower end, mirrorless cameras. But the thing that I think we all have to, just sort of look at is they're all so amazing now. I mean, we've got 3 cameras here. They're all 10-bit. They're all 422 if we want them to be, right? They're all just capable of I mean, you really have to you have to mess things up pretty badly in terms of your knowledge of how to use the camera and your craft to not get good images out of this camera. And that's easy to do, but I'm just saying, like, it's all the other stuff now that's going to contribute to what you're going to get out of these cameras. The cameras aren't the problem. That's we got
Oh,
three
no.
cameras here from $1,500 to $2,500, and every single one of them, including another dozen cameras that are on the market that are under $5,000 and go all the
Right.
way down to sub $1,000. It's really your ability and what you can do that's going to be the difference. It's not the camera anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
I don't
and the thing that's really crazy about this current crop, pun intended, not intended, but especially the FX30, that's just nuts, is like, if you forget about full frame for a second, you're getting, like, so the A7S III, $3,500, I think. This is half of that.
Yes.
And you're giving up the sensor size.
Yep.
Sure, there's other little things like, pixel to pixel, or the low light capabilities of having a smaller megapixel count or whatever. But I much prefer the oversampling personally, with how good the processors are in these cameras. So for like half the price, you're getting the same thing and more, with the exception of the sensor size. Oh, charge that battery.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly
crazy. The A7S is not that old. And Sony's like, here you go. Here's
but this is Sony. This is old Sony, Sony. This is their game.
Yeah,
they kind
of
of
pressure from Canon, and then they just start shooting out this wild, crazy stuff.
Wild, crazy stuff. And the other thing, it's like you think about these cameras and what they can do right now, and people like, well, I want full frame, I want large format, and that's beautiful. But to me, the big advantage to large format is being in a smaller space and being able to get, the angles of view that you want at the f-stop that you want. But the reality is if you've got a little bit of depth in a space, how long did Hollywood shoot films in the super 35 millimeter format? They didn't have a problem making some of the best looking films that have ever been lensed. So
and lenses are nuts now. There's a 16 millimeter 1.4 for, I don't know, whatever it was, $375. Sony has an 11 millimeter 1.8. You can work around, for the most part, that stuff. And I would agree with Samantha. I know some people are fighting her on this in the chat.
What?
She said the FX30 now is what the Pocket 4K was when it came out. And people are disagreeing, and they're different cameras, but I would say yes, like, it's got that whoa factor. So I think that thing's going to be, Sony is in a great place. Sony and Canon, Panasonic, yikes.
Yikes. Yep.
Big yikes. Fuji getting yikesy. And I'm saying Sony and Canon are in a pretty solid place for different reasons. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, can Fuji take what will become probably something like an XT5 and say, here's our, because really the XT series has been their video centric. It's always been a hybrid camera, right?
Right.
But will they take what they've been doing, the XH2 and XH2S, and say, okay, we're going to now make this is really tuned. Like, will they change the menus? Will they make it more video centric? And will they try to compete in that sub $2,000 range? And they've got most of the ingredients there, but can they take this new sensor and can they bring AF to where Sony and Canon are? Because I don't know if there's a lot more than that they need to do besides price. But when you say yikes, Caleb, do you mean it's more than that they need to do? Or if they can get AF killer and under $2,000 US, are they competing or not?
I haven't used the 2S.
Right.
But one thing that's just the Fuji has always felt like a little clunky. I love the aesthetic, and I love gray, so their menu system's my favorite color.
Right. Yeah,
But getting around that camera is awful in the menus.
Right.
So I'm gonna say
the menus are a problem too.
Cleaning all that up. Yep. Cleaning that up. Again, I have used the newest camera. The whole lens thing, the weird stuff like the autofocus is trash, and when you hit record, it's somehow better. Just weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
All needs to get solved. Panasonic, if they just give us good autofocus, I feel like they're immediately in a great place. But,
even with micro four thirds, or do they have to go to an APS-C Super 35 millimeter?
I don't know about that. I mean, they could, I guess, but I think they're gonna milk micro four thirds until it's completely dead. But if they just had great autofocus, it would immediately, because everything else is better over there. Like for people,
the
people won't
assist
touch
tools
them.
are insane. I mean,
V-Log is still my
favorite
favorite color or log profile to work with. It's just sorting that out. Ergonomics or like button layout and stuff is a little funky maybe too. I think both Sony now, and that's what I'm. If I were Canon, I would be fairly scared because I feel like Sony is now almost full picture, right? Like Canon always had these weird things, 30-minute record limits. If you don't want to do anything outside of using the screen in the back of the camera, you're going to hate yourself. Yeah. They had these weird issues, and Sony had like just awful color, or like this like hacked up 8-bit log. Now Sony's got it. Their current 10-bit cameras, mirrorless, are just great. And their
lineup is, I mean, you go FX30, FX3, FX6, FX9.
Yeah.
It's a bonkers lineup. Yes.
And if there's an FX30, who's to say there won't be an FX60 or an FX90? So what if they do what they did, take an FX6, staple in a Super 35 sensor, cut the price in half, and they do that for then it's like, then it's Crazyville with their lineup.
with variable ND, and
forget
XLR
about it,
inputs.
Forget about it.
And that's, of course, the things that we're,
$4,000.
don't you think, Ben? I mean, like the thing we're really like, there's not much more in these mirrorless cameras that we could want for, a variable ND system built into the camera would be pretty big.
That's
and audio
that's
getting better.
Yeah,
and audio.
That's all we're really lacking. But the thing is, the audio now, they've all got handles. They've all got that little handles or the little adapter that you can get an XLR input that's going directly digitally straight into the camera. I think audio wise, it's not the issue that was at all now. I think the ND thing's still a big deal. But there's way, if you're, and again, we've spoken about this before, but why I'm enjoying using the Canon R cameras using the EF adapter with the built-in ND, that's such an enormously, I can't tell you that alone makes that system worth having for me. But then with people like Fuji, who then I don't think they're ever really going to compete with Sony and Canon, and they sit in this slightly weird space because it's that kind of, as we spoke about earlier, I think it's that people who are long-term photographers who are doing a bit of video. It's that kind of it's that warm fuzzy thing that we have for it, and it's great. And as Kelly was saying, I love the aesthetic of all that stuff. But the thing that they really need to do, which again we've mentioned many times, is go a different path and go down that medium format route. Go down the medium format route. Do something different that no one else is doing.
Yep.
Because that market space is filled now, and they're not going to compete with those two. And they've always been a different market anyway. But I think that's something that they could really kind of be trailblazers in, because no one else is doing that.
Well, they're not gonna do full frame. We know that, as far as we can tell. Right. And that
They
medium
already have a medium
format
format
space
sensor.
I mean, the only people who could really compete with them is DJI, and I mean that because they own Hasselblad.
Hasselblad.
You know, but the reality is that is a space that, like, an IMAX in your pocket could be Fuji space. They could
Right.
say, here's that sensor. We already have lenses. We've now put the video capabilities of what's in our APS-C cameras into this. And, you know, that could be really, they're already kind of doing it, but they're not doing it. They haven't fully
No,
committed
no.
to the video side of it. They're really
They've
still
put a
like,
mode on a
yeah,
stills camera, but there's so much more they could do with that, and that's just interesting.
it is. Will they do it? Who knows? But right now, Sony's looking pretty killer, and Canon has a great APS-C / Super 35 millimeter. The sensor sizes are very similar, which is why we kind of say that. There is sort of a standard-ish sensor size for Super 35, but they're right in the same realm. Your field of view is going to be very similar between the two. Are they identical? No. But, you know, part of it's marketing, you know, from a Sony standpoint. But I think there's just so many great choices now. I mean, do you need to spend more money on a camera? I don't know. I mean, I love that FX9. I think that the C300, C500 series is great. You can get great images out of them. Why do you need a bigger camera body? Well, sometimes it just feels right when you're going handheld and you need the built-in NDs and the audio. And as a crew, when you start to build a crew, going as a crew around a larger camera system is easier. It's easier to mount things. It's easier for, you know, for monitoring. It's easier for audio people. There's definitely something about going to a slightly larger camera body with those features in it, without it just being gack that you're adding, that I do think is for real. Like, you know, if I was going to go out and work with a crew of 5 to 8 people all the time, and there was always a sound recordist and always an AC and always this, I would be looking at a digital cinema camera. But are the images they're capturing any better? Arguable. I don't necessarily think they are, you know. It's so good now. So damn good. Ridiculous.
We're spoiled.
It's a good thing.
Rotten.
Yeah,
It's
Rotten.
great. It's a wonderful
we've gone
time.
over.
Wonderful time.
Wonderful time. Yes. And here we are, over, because
And
only do this once
we
a
have
month.
40 people. They survived. First of all,
40
we have to salute.
That's
we
like
have to
1,000
salute,
people on the C47.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
salute you guys
I
for
drink to that.
surviving our 20 minutes of, I don't know what we talked about, but then we got
God.
into like finance. We got into finance, subscriptions.
And now we're 8 minutes over. We're clearly done, and Jem's pouring another very healthy
Oh
measure.
gosh.
Well, no, you said we have to.
What is
no,
it,
you said
3
we
o'clock
have to.
there?
No, you said
Oh.
we have to. We have to cheers them. No, it's 4 o'clock.
Okay.
4:08.
Got a couple drops.
Literally. All right. Fine.
To Ben
drop.
resting, I hope, well after his carpet van. I want to hear this carpet van action though next time.
Oh yeah, we need some
We need to talk about the
BTS.
van.
Maybe you should actually.
it's-
Maybe
To
you
those of
should
who
take that
survived,
vehicle.
41 of you,
Yeah, 41. Oh, 41.
and
wow.
people are up at
Wow.
1 or 2 a.m.
42?
Denmark, 2 a.m. for coffee.
amazing.
So
So many fellow
Unbelievable.
Central Europeans in at the moment. Really nice to see you all this week.
yeah.
Normally on my own.
Wonderful. Well, I miss you guys. I mean everybody, but I miss you guys very much. And
Yeah,
um,
I'm desperate
yeah,
for a in-person meetup.
I think it's going to happen. I feel very good about 2023. I think we have to be.
Don't say that.
And
We've been saying that for 3 years. Damn it, Jem. Don't ruin it.
I feel really
Chat.
bad about next April. Nothing's going to happen. I won't see you guys. But we always have Zoom and our live streams. So
Yeah,
it's
there you go.
amazing.
There you go.
Go buy a
Well, it was a
camera.
pleasure.
Don't buy a camera. Make some
Yep.
some pictures.
Don't buy a
Do your
camera.
thing.
If you need a
Don't
new
buy a
one,
camera.
yeah. You're
You
good.
know. All right, love you guys. All the best.
Have a
I gotta
great night,
find
everyone.
I gotta find the little
41 of
button.
you. Congratulations.
Awesome. See
That might
ya.
be a record.
Yeah, it might be.
Cheers.
I don't know.
Pitiful.